Well, let me just say this. There's a saying that goes on in sports that you got to play the games. And you got to play the games because anything can happen, right? And we all laugh about that. We all joke about that. We say, "Oh, it's not possible." We know what's going to happen, right? It's pretty obvious. We can all predict it via our couches and our brains. You can't. You just can't. And if there's one thing we've learned all season long, it is that quite literally every game in District 10, with the exception of maybe one or two, has been unpredictable. Some have been unfathomable, but the impossible has become reality in a lot of these situations. And like 10 straight weeks of regular season, playoff week one delivered it again, folks, because that is how things are going now in District 10, and it is how we continue to love what we do on Friday and tonight's Saturday nights, because my goodness, it's been a wild and wonky playoff week one. Welcome in, everybody. It's High School Football Rapid Reaction on a Saturday, brought to you by Rebich Investments, keeping financial guidance simple. If you want more info, go to the website, www.rebichinvestments.com, or you can simply go to their website during normal business hours, and their website is, of course, www.rebichinvestments.com. 814-734-3433 is the number to dial. I am pleased to be joined by two guests tonight, Rob Matz, and the man who called the Mercyhurst Prep Seneca game, the man who will be on ESPN in short order, Braden Bynum, who is, I'll tell you what, my friend, you make us look like mere mortals with what you've been doing with Mercyhurst Prep. It's good to see you. It's good to have you on the pod for the first time.
Well, thank you so much, Isaac. Your kind words mean a lot. And I love commentating. I started doing it at my high school. I'm initially from the Kane area in the District 9. I'm a freshman in college, so I started doing it my junior year of high school, and I look forward to it every single week. It's my favorite thing that I do, and I put in the work to try to be the best version of me that I can be and deliver the best broadcast. So I really appreciate your kind words. And yourself as well, Isaac. I mean, you have a very big following here in the Erie area, so congratulations to you on that. Happy to be on.
Appreciate you, Braden, man. It's great to have you on. It's great to have you both on. We're talking about your game in just a couple of minutes, but we got to start with the shock of all shocks. And the reason why I'm sitting where I'm sitting and you guys are sitting where you're sitting is because we spread out. We called different games. I actually called this game for the school's live stream tonight. We did not give this game a shot when we talked about it, Rob, earlier in the week and last week. And, we kind of glazed over 4A. We said, okay, Meadville dropping out. That was kind of the talking point of, all right, so, GM goes through one game. They're going to play Oil City. They're going to go to the state playoffs. And you play the games for this reason, because Oil City shocking GM tonight. They win 16-14. They win the District 10 4A championship in a game that just ended. I think along with most all of us, are stunned. And I just want to get your first take on this, Rob. I mean, I called the game. I got to see a lot of it. But the Oilers walk out of this the District 10 champion in the biggest surprise of the weekend.
Yeah, huge surprise. And we almost saw one here tonight. We'll get to that later. But, Braden and I got to see Oil City, this year a couple times. And is it shocking? It's shocking because the role that McLean was on. And then you just wonder, you go back, did it hurt McLean to sit out and sit idle for a week? Talking to some other coaches in the area that it's happened to in the past, Fort LaBeouf, they don't want to sit idle, and it's tough as a coach to sit idle and then get your guys up. But we saw it with Oil City. And I told, Braden, when we were talking earlier and even on the way here, Dan York teams, he doesn't have the top two all-time leading rushers in District 10 history, for no reason at all. And it's playoff football, it's playing defense, and it's running the ball.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about this game, and watching this from bird's eye view. The first thing I will say is this. The Oil City defense was prepared and ready to play this game. They were outstanding in so many ways. The biggest stat of the night, which I think is going to be talked about for a while in both camps, is the turnovers. GM turned the ball over 4 times. 2 of those were inside the red zone. One of those was on a hand extension from Jared Corwin, in which he looked like he was close to breaking the plane. He reaches out to try to go over the goal line. Oil City knocks the ball out of his hands, and all of a sudden they've got the football. That's one turnover. Second turnover was, of course, really what I thought was the game-changing play in the 43-yard strip sack fumble recovery touchdown that was knocked out, and Braden Buzzard was the man who picked it up and ran into the end zone. And of course, this was not a turnover, but Oil City gets 2 big points, 2 biggest points at the end of the game in the first half, when they force a intentional grounding in the end zone that led to a 2-point safety and were their first 2 points of the game and ultimately were the difference in the game. I was so impressed with the Oilers defense and what they were able to do tonight. And I think, guys, when I look at this game in totality, the thing that surprised me the most was the fact that Oil City forced 2 turnovers, and yet it wasn't even the turnovers to me that won them the game. It was just their defense and being stringent in so many plays. That's really what it boiled down to for me. They were tremendous defensively, and it was one of those games where, you and I talked about this a week ago, Rob, and I don't mean to go off at a tangent about a different game, but when we talked about Eisenhower and Mercier's prep, right, for the region championship, and Braden, you were there, you called the game.
That's right.
We talked about, Rob, that if Eisenhower was going to be in the game, going to win the game, it would have to be a muddy the waters type of game where you get to the end of the first quarter and it's 7-7, and you look up if you're Mercier's prep and you think, okay, wow, that time went quick. It's exactly what happened tonight. GM takes the opening kick back to the 30. They score in 4 plays, but Oil City hangs around. They hang around. They get the safety. It's 7-2. They go down. They score a touchdown. It's 8-7. And before you know it, if you're GM, you're sitting there and it's late in the second quarter and you're down 1 and time's almost up in the first half. That to me was when I look at this game, Oil City played exactly how they wanted to play. And I think when you boil it down, it quite literally comes down to playing a game on their terms. And that's exactly what they had to do tonight, and it's what they did tonight to win. I was impressed with their defense.
Another thing, too, about Oil City, they're really able to play very well off of the previous play. And what I mean by that, Cole Finley. They do a lot of bootlegs with Cole Finley. And when we were here for the Erie Public versus Oil City game, Oil City won that game 21-20. Of course, Erie Public's a 6A school. The bootleg with Cole Finley, they used to have Stephen Heiss wide open for just a routine pass. Finley rolled out the pocket to his right and just launched it to the left side of the field. Heiss was wide open and ran about 30 yards to go into the end zone. So that combination in the backfield of Cole Finley and Stephen Heiss can be lethal, especially when you have that Oil City defense rounding on all cylinders like they did tonight.
Yeah, it's a good point, Braden, and I'll make a comment too. Oil City didn't defer from their game plan and ran shotgun a lot tonight. We talked, Rob, at the beginning of the season about Cole Finley.
I'm sorry, you said they did run shotgun a lot tonight?
They did.
Yeah,
they did.
Which is surprising because when we've seen them, usually they're lining up in the eye about 70 to 80% of the time.
Yeah, and they ran gun for a lot of the second half. And what was, I think, impressive from Dan York, and I want to give a shout out to Dan York because we know how good of a coach he is. We know that Oil City's always in games, right? Meadville, Oil City are never out of games, even if they don't have the better team. And GM, roster-wise, was the better team, no doubt. But the way that they played in the fourth quarter, what was most fascinating to me is Dan York knows his team. He knows his personnel. And in the last 2 drives, Oil City, I think, ran 10 or 11 plays. They threw the ball once. They ran quarterback power the other 10 times.
Yeah, that sounds like Dan York.
And the biggest play of the game was a 3rd and 25. Oil City was sitting with a minute and a half to go. It's 3rd and 25 from their own 38-yard line. And what I thought, to your point, Braden, is they play off the previous play. They had just tried to go for the kill shot. They throw a bomb down the field on 2nd down and 25. It's incomplete. But it forced GM back a bit. And what do? They roll Cole Finley out. They let him stand in the pocket. The blitz comes. It passes the quarterback, and Cole Finley is gone. Down the left-hand side, he picks up 26 yards on 3rd and 25. And he ends up getting a first down, and that's that from there. So Oil City, I think, did a tremendous job. What I think is going to sting for GM is the missed opportunities. They had plenty of chances to win this football game, and I think that's what's going to keep Marshall McCormick up at night. The defense was tremendous tonight as well. They let Cole Finley run wild for a couple of times, but they bent, but they didn't break. I'm a little surprised at the lack of up-tempo that GM used. I think I counted about 8 or 9 times in the game where they went super quick, no huddle, hurry up to the line. I thought it would be more. Maybe it's a testament to Oil City's defense, but I just think when you look at this, it's like the game plan for Oil City was simple. Muddy the waters, run your studs, and run out the clock. And that's what happened tonight.
Yeah, and we're all kind of shocked because, we felt that was the team that had the best shot to go the deepest. But again, here we are, the North, and some of these teams have a really big test next week. And, teams, our teams could be out really quick with some of the teams that they have to play.
So Oil City, the shock, Braden, you were going to add another point too.
Well, talking about General McLean, that's their only lone loss in District 10 play this season. If you recall, week 1,
Right.
Their first loss was on the road at DuBois. They lost that game 56-35. But Oil City, they're such a well-coached football team. They're always in every single game that they play, and they're one of the smaller schools in the District 10. But something that I think we've learned a lot about, we've covered Corey, we've covered Seneca and Wattsburg, is a lot of the smaller areas, they're small, but they're mighty, and they have a really large fan base, really supportive fan base. A lot of them, they like to buy out our ads at WPSC.
Yeah.
Like last week, Fort LaBeouf, a lot of ads coming in from Waterford this week, a lot of ads coming in from Wattsburg, and Oil City is no different. They have very large support group. They have very large fan base, and they can beat anybody on any given Friday or any given Saturday night at this point, as they just proved. Great win for the Oilers.
You think about the significance of this win for Oil City tonight, and I said this on the broadcast. It is General McLean's first loss in District 10 to a team equal or lower of classification in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it is just their second loss to a District 10 team at all since the start of 2024, the only other one being Cathedral Prep in week 8 or 9 of last year. So this is a team under Marshall McCormick that does not now lose District 10 games, and Oil City comes in and they stun the Lancers, and what a win for Dan York and the Oilers. And for Marshall McCormick and GM, it's a what could have been scenario as the Lancers go home 8-2 on the season. Let's flip the script and go to your game, guys. I was texting back and forth with you, Rob, during this one. Speaking of shocks that we thought wouldn't happen and almost did in your scenario, Seneca up double digits, and Mercier's Prep comes back to stage a late comeback, guys. Your reaction from the Lakers to
I'm gonna let Braden break that down, because he can break it down a lot quicker than I can. Just to recap.
All right, well, thank you, Rob. So at the end of the first quarter, we were deadlocked. The score was 0-0. A lot of third and fourth down stops for both of these teams, which was similar to the last time they played on September 12th. That was homecoming night in Wattsburg. No Vinny Feliciano, no Eon Elman-Sparks for that game due to suspension. And also the starting quarterback, the senior, number 9, for Seneca, Rylan Harwood, was injured during that game. So all 3 of those players were on the field tonight, 0-0 at the end of the first quarter. Then at the second quarter, Eon Elman-Sparks takes in a 6-yard run on 3rd down and 6. He's the motion man, takes it into the end zone for the Mercyhurst Prep touchdown. But Seneca, they're able to respond in a big way. They tied the game up at 7 apiece with 39 seconds to play in the first half, and Rylan Harwood, he converted a 4th down and 12, a very clutch pass to a freshman wide receiver, and then took the ball in from 4 yards out to tie us up at 7 apiece. Now, this is really where the momentum started to change on the kickoff by BB, who's one of the better kickers in the District 10 for Seneca. Mercier's Prep ends up fumbling the football. Seneca falls on it, and BB kicks a field goal with 3 seconds to play. They go into the first half down 10-7. So Mercier's Prep gets the ball to start the second half, and Seneca, they were very aggressive. They won the coin toss. They elected to receive, and that really said a lot to me before the game was started, that their head coach, Jack Corey, was really going all out and really just laying all of his arsenal onto the football field tonight. So it's 10-7 going into the second half. Mercier's Prep has the football. Feliciano breaks a touchdown into the end zone, first play, but it's called back due to a holding. And Mercier's Prep eventually has to end up punting the football away. And a couple of possessions go on. Mercier's Prep fumbles the football again, this time on offense. One of their ball carriers did so. That was Tyler Quinn, who's been a great running back for the Lakers outside of Feliciano. So 10-7, Seneca has the football off of the fumble. They go down. They end up scoring a touchdown to make it 17-7. That's the score heading into the fourth quarter. Now, going into the fourth quarter, Mercier's Prep, they were driving. And so it only took a couple seconds in the fourth quarter for Mercier's Prep to tie things up on a Feliciano touchdown run. 17-14 is the score. And then they exchange a couple of possessions, and Seneca, just a huge moment in this game is Seneca was driving down the field, and there were a couple of self-inflicted wounds, and both teams had that tonight. But Seneca, they had a couple of holding penalties on the line of scrimmage. It pushed them back really far, and they were in the red zone. They were getting ready to go up 24-14, but they get pushed back. They have to punt the football away. Mercyhurst Prep gets the football back. So 17-14, just a couple minutes to play. This is really the spot where the game changes. It's 4th down and 2 for Mercyhurst Prep. And you just have to see it to believe it here at Erie Veterans Memorial Stadium. 4th down and 2, low snap. Everett Cotterill not able to get on the football, the quarterback for Mercyhurst Prep. Vinny Feliciano does it the last possible second. He's being swarmed by the physical Seneca line of scrimmage. He's able to reverse sides of the field and pick up about 10 yards for the first down on 4th down and 2. If he doesn't get that, Seneca needs a first down, maybe 2, and they win this football game 17-14. But instead, Feliciano continues to drive them down the field. There was a nice pass from Everett Cotterill to Ty Mims on a slant route. He took a massive, massive hit, but held on possession of the football. Tyler Quinn punches it into the end zone, and Mercyhurst Prep wins 21-17. Their defense holds on, and they have the 10-point comeback victory in the 4th quarter. Just a great football game. And Rob, it seems like every time we get together, it's close games.
It is. And, just to go by that play on that 4th down and 2, Mercyhurst, they lined up, and you knew they were coming off tackle to the right. They had a tight end. They had Tyler Quinn there. It was going to be a lead for Feliciano off the right tackle between his 6'3", 285-pound guard and his sophomore 305-pound tackle. And Seneca, they had that timeout. They had a 6-man line. They were overloaded to that side. The linebackers shifted a little bit to the left. You knew they were going to stop it and shut it down. When that ball was on the ground, you thought, unbelievable. Feliciano, again, he is the equalizer and saves the game for Mercyhurst and really the season for them.
Incredible.
What a turnaround from last year, and a great recap by you, Braden. Mercyhurst Prep, they blow a double-digit lead to Sharpsville last year. They flipped the script this year, and now a big game against Farrell that we'll get into next week. But, man, big win for Jeff Root, too. Comeback fashion, that's always huge when it comes to districts and playoffs. And for Seneca, man, Jack Corey's a hell of a coach. Can we just admit that now? Like, I think I probably gave them more of a chance than you did, Rob. But that team, when they're rolling, they're hard to beat. I mean, they're like what we saw here tonight with Coach York and Oil City. They're just hard to beat, and they're going to be a powerhouse in 2A for a long time. And they have a lot of guys coming back. But Mercyhurst Prep gets it done. Almost as crazy of a game that we had here, Rob.
Yeah, and we're gonna have to get quick because they're turning out the lights on us here at the stadium.
It's funny, they are on here too. 2 minutes. Let's just talk. Fort LaBeouf with a big win.
Yes.
Your thoughts, Rob, quickly on Northeast and their magical run last night.
Yeah, well, let's go to Northeast first. I watched the game when I got home last night, and I'm going to tell you what: Northeast, driving rainstorm, turnover battle, loaded the line of scrimmage, loaded the box, played man defense. They smothered the freshman quarterback and the running back. 50-yard fake punt by Ethan Ringer for a touchdown, a run around left end. Absolutely dominated. District 10's thought that was the 3rd seed, where Fort LaBeouf should have been the 3rd seed. 100%.
Thank you.
They got it wrong, and argued with a lot of people this past week. But you know what? In Northeast, I'm glad they backed it up and they got that big win over the South team. But then you turn around. Fort LaBeouf came in last night. Corey came in a tight end set, double tight. They're trying to run the ball. They did a nice job in the first half. They caused 2 turnovers. They didn't capitalize on one of the turnovers. Fort LaBeouf just continued to be super aggressive in everything they did. Lots of motions, lots of sets. Buck sweep. Don McWalters, a complete difference maker all over the field. Sadowski, he's been banged up for weeks. But their biggest player on defense was Brady Black, defensive end. He was all over in the quarterback's face last night. He was just a disruptive person. Justin Bloss has done a great job out there with Fort LaBeouf. Rich Kolash, the defensive game plan he came in with last night, playing 3 freshmen and then adding that starting linebacker in Graydon McDevitt out there to be able to keep them and have a dominating second half was just overly impressive. But, they were going to have a tough task to mount next week against Hickory.
Only sometimes we know what we're talking about. Only
That's right.
sometimes.
That's right.
Gents, great stuff. We're going to leave both of us before the lights turn out. Good stuff.
Yeah, I really don't want to get locked in here. So we'll talk to you soon.
All right, that's it for high school football rapid reaction playoffs week 1. Chaos. We'll see you all next week for more rapid reaction and Gem City Sports Podcast Network.